Welcome to the Preparing Media Files video tutorial for AVA360VR. And the purpose of this tutorial is to get you ready to have all of your multimedia assets ready to import into a new project you're creating in AVA360VR. There are some constraints and restrictions about what these file formats should look like and maybe certain properties of the files. So I'll just quickly go through some of that so you can get your files in the right shape ready to import or add into your project. Other videos will talk about what the project structure is and how to create a project itself. So you see in this list here there are a number of assets that you can import. You can import 2D video, 360 video, audio files, image files, and 3D object files as well. And the important thing to note is that some of these formats, like the 2D video and the 360, they can be synced and unsynced. And that means when you create a new project which has a master 360 video, all other videos or audio files that you attach, if they're synced, then they start at exactly the same point as the master and they finish at the same point, and you've prepared that beforehand. If they're unsynced, then they have no relation to that master 360, and they could be any sorts of videos that are not in any way related. So we keep that distinction so that we know which video files we can play exactly the same time synced together inside AVA360VR. To create the synced video files, whether they're 360 or 2D or audio, we do have a separate video tutorial that explains how to do that, and you see that here on this link. If you go to this link, on our help pages, you'll find a link from there to YouTube or Zenodo, where we have an archive of the video to guide you through how to create those synced files from your raw data. And you can import all of these as long as they're in a fairly standard format. So video files should, for example, be in MP4 and a standard codec. Audio files in WAV, they could be in MP3, but the quality is a lot lower. And as long as those files are stored in the right folders, they should be available inside your project. Also, for the 360 videos, they should be in a standard equirectangular format, in monoscopic, not stereoscopic. That's not supported yet. And here you see an example of an equirectangular video format from our Lego demo data. If you have 2D videos or 360 videos, then they really shouldn't be larger than 4K. It gets hard for most machines, computers, to play back 6K or 8K at the moment. And AVA doesn't really support that, though it may work, it may not work. So keep your video files around 4K or less, and then depending on the power of your machine, you should be able to play several videos and audio files at the same time, but that really depends on the power of your own computer. Try also not to keep too high a bit rate, because that makes it harder to take files off of disk, and also use an SSD rather than a hard drive, which will have a much faster transfer rate, both reading and writing. And if you use an SSD, then that should make it possible to play back these video and audio formats. Otherwise, if it's a hard drive, it simply cannot get the data off quick enough. There's no way to do that. And when you've got your files and media assets ready and you want to create a project, then what will happen is that the 360 master that you've created will be copied. The location of it will be requested, and then it will be copied into the right folder with the complete folder structure. And then you can copy the rest of your multimedia assets into the right folders once that project folder structure is created. So you'll find a lot more in the project folder structure tutorial about how to understand how the folder structure is organized, so you know where to put the media asset files you've worked on as part of this tutorial.